Hi, and welcome to Sixcess Stories. We are your hosts, Christina Gent
and Eric Ozarowski.
And this is where we share real conversations with the 6 Degrees community all about life, leadership, and the power of meaningful connections. Today we got to talk to Brian McFadden, who knows a thing or two about podcasting. He can definitely tell you everything you need to know about Star Wars. He eats, breathes, lives football. Oh yeah, and he's an expert in real estate. Brian is the COO of Altaterra and the co-founder of Legit Football.
In this episode, we talk quite a bit about Brian's love and passion for football and how that's led to him building his media company over the last 5 years called Legit Content, specifically focused on the NFL right now and as Legit Football. We get into what it's like growing up around the positive aspects of Southern culture in rural North Carolina, where there was a friendly community feel baked into Southern hospitality. And then his well-rounded experience of living in places like Miami, New York, California, with San Diego being the final destination. We talk a little bit about the idea of nature versus nurture in all of us as human beings and how that shows up for him as a parent. And we spent quite a bit of time talking about Legit Football, what he wants to turn it into, how he sees that growing over the next couple of years, and just all his excitement and energy around what he's building.
Obviously, I'm always excited to talk about football. So this was a really fun conversation for me to just enjoy. And I'm excited that there's another member of our community who is a huge football fan and that he's already taken me up on a couple of the invites that you will hear in this episode. So please enjoy this episode of Sixcess Stories.
I may or not mention this when I first got in the NFL media. It was because of I started a podcast first.
Oh, cool.
So I was a podcaster for years, but all virtual.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I didn't do an in-person podcast until I don't remember, like a year ago.
Really?
So but this was always what I wanted. I always imagined having and I want to, when Legit Football gets there, I want to build out. I want to have an office space with a media room and a podcast studio and all that. So that's part of my dream.
That's exciting.
So I get excited sitting in front of my. That's basically what I'm saying.
You're like, oh yay!
This is my element right here.
That's really good. I mean, most of the people who are members and that we have on here, it's their first time ever being on something. So there's a lot more nerves, I think, for most people until they get in this space and they're like, oh, we're sitting on weird, comfy couches and it's purple has thrown up in here, and I think it relaxes people a little bit more. Right. It's like, no, let's just chill. We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
So
what was when you had the podcast going, what was the theme or what was the angle that you...
So, I mean, it was an NFL podcast,
right?
But it didn't start off only NFL podcast. This was 2020. It was during COVID.
Yeah.
October we launched it. So 2020 election. So I thought it would be a niche to do a football and politics podcast.
Oh, wow.
I don't know fucking why, but whatever. It was cool. So it was called the Pigskins and Politics Podcast, and we called it the PPP for short.
The PPP.
And it was fun. And we would do one episode we didn't do the same episode combined. It was Mondays were NFL, and Thursdays were politics, and we'd throw in another episode sometimes here and there.
Sure.
But then when the election happened afterwards, it was nothing really to talk about anymore. So we dropped the politics part and we just became the Pigskin Party Podcast and still kept the PPP.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, a lot of people don't know that for a few months it was we had a whole politics element talking about the upcoming election and all that.
Well, how interesting that how much politics and football ended up getting intertwined with the whole kneeling during the pandemic.
This was after that. Yeah, this was all around the same time, but we purposely weren't trying to combine them.
Right.
It was a weird idea of let's have a podcast with two themes.
Got it.
Yeah, so we didn't come across it those politics and football are meshing.
Right.
We're no. We just one day we're going to talk football and one day we're going to talk politics.
Huh, okay.
And interesting, what we did when we morphed it to keep more on the party theme is the day we used to talk politics, we then would talk pop culture instead. So we had a day, we called it the palate cleanser, because we would talk all football and nerdy football stuff.
Yeah.
That's the kind of football guy. And then we'd have let's talk favorite shows or what movie are you seeing or music, just whatever pop culture thing.
Yeah.
And people really liked that. They liked it's funny, we had a whole different audience for each one. People would tune into our football ones, and there would be a different audience that would tune into our Thursday episodes,
that's
the palate
interesting,
cleansers.
too.
But it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of guests. We did a lot of, that was when I was first on Twitter. So there's a lot of beat writers who got even bigger since then that I've interviewed, who I see all the time on like
Sure.
ESPN, and like, you were on my podcast.
That's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
So yeah, it was a really fun experience.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I have no issue being in front of a mic.
No, that's great.
I've done it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the purple helps too. So
It does. It adds to the vibe.
Had you been here before at all, or heard of it?
to
Mike
this,
Trout?
no,
Okay.
no, not at all. There's so much of San Diego I've never even heard
Yeah.
of, let alone been to.
Is most of it? Are you in the La Jolla bubble for the most? Obviously, you're driving around a lot, but it's like too.
But I don't even
client stuff.
really go out in La Jolla that much.
Yeah.
I don't.
Just that you're at the office.
The things I've done to go out are like a meetup group. So wherever that meetup group is happening. So I mean, I've been in North Park Hillcrest quite a bit because there's just a lot of things that happen there.
Yeah.
But I've been to a board game night in Miramar. I've gone to a dinner thing in Encinitas, even before last night.
Okay.
So stuff like that here
Yeah.
and there. My business partner, Reem, lives in San Carlos. And so I've hung out in La Mesa a lot, right? Kind
Sure.
of out east, which I really like that area. We've had listings and clients in Chula Vista. So like we'll be down there and then we'll go out, we're here, let's go out, go to the shopping or whatever.
Right.
So it's like where the business has taken me or some meetup group. That's
Yeah.
usually where I've seen. And downtown, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of at the whim of.
At the whim of whatever.
Whatever's pulling you in that area.
Yes.
Oh, I'm over here. What's over here?
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, never been to that area. Let's do that. Have you guys heard of Time Left?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you done that?
Yes, absolutely
Okay.
love it. It's been a while. I need to
Okay.
get back into it. I did 2 Orange County, 4 in here. But that was how I first went to Hillcrest. Because there's 3 areas. There's PB La Jolla, there's North Park Hillcrest, and then there's downtown Little Italy. And they'll switch which restaurant they're at. So I've been to 2 dinners in Hillcrest because of Time Left. So like stuff like that.
What is time left? Like, how's it work?
You are matched up with 5 other strangers for dinner.
Got it.
Yeah. So there's like this whole intake form, which they say is for personality matching. I'm pretty sure they just match you based on age, having done it a bunch of times.
Oh.
Just because, every dinner has been good, but it's like completely different type of people. So like clearly they're not using the whatever algorithm they say they have.
Yeah.
But the point is people have to take the time to fill out the questionnaire. So everyone there took the time, and it's a subscription model. It's like $20 a month.
Yeah.
So that like everyone there to meet people. So you don't really have the awkwardness of, no, if you showed up, if you made the reservation or you signed up because it's every Wednesday and you pay the subscription, you filled out the form and you're at that dinner with 5 people you don't know, you are there to talk to people in some
Sure.
way, even if you're reserved and introverted.
Yeah.
So everyone I've gone to has been a fun experience and haven't really made any deep friendships off of it,
Yeah.
but the dinner itself was awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's been a few people I've run into that have had mixed reviews, and it might be because of what you just named of, if I did the thing and I'm at the dinner, then I'm there to interact with other people, and maybe sometimes there's people who might think that that's the in for them to maybe bring their inside voice out and be able to be, they're naturally introverted, maybe that space, but maybe it didn't really do what it wanted for them specifically.
Sure.
And that might be like why their reaction to it was like, maybe not for me. But certainly if I walked into something knowing like what you just mentioned of, this is for us to meet strangers and
Right.
have a conversation and
At bare minimum,
be curious.
go to you're eating dinner anyway, whether you're eating dinner at home, like this way, like I'm just gonna go eat dinner with other people,
Right.
and get to know people. And I'm also, it helps that I'm an extrovert and I love just getting to know people, so I can go to a dinner, get to know them, and never talk to those people again, and have a fantastic time.
Yeah, it fills your cup, right?
Yes,
like
it fills my cup.
I'm the same way. There's
Yeah.
a reason why I like to sit at the bar in any restaurant, because if I'm going solo, but even if Eric and I go, it's because there's most likely I'm going to have a conversation with people at the bar. That
Yeah.
just naturally is going to happen because I'm also extroverted, and it fills my cup to be around other humans and interact with other humans.
Right.
So yeah, makes
But
sense.
if somebody goes with a different intention, or like you said, maybe they're trying to experiment with their personality,
Yeah.
and that's a hard thing to do, no matter who you are, if it's out of your comfort zone. Yeah,
Well, that's
I
the
would do it
thing
again.
with any of these types of groups, and Eric, you've done a couple of your own version of something that you've gone to that does the same
Yeah,
kind
there's
of thing.
there's a business specific version of that
Mm.
that I've done a couple times now. It's just really interesting because to be the label entrepreneur or a business owner, right? Like Christy and I talk a lot about, like, her title's CEO, but she's not a real CEO at this stage. Real CEO is, I don't touch the business. I have a leadership team that takes care of everything and manages the team underneath them. Yeah. That's a CEO.
Yeah. Same with COO. I'm literally running the entire business myself. Right. I'm not managing a team of people who are doing that. I wish I was.
Right. Yeah. So working towards that, but the title entrepreneur is such a big, broad title, and so it's a business focus, but there's just different levels of people in different stages of business. Some of them are solopreneurs, some of them are running small businesses, some are running larger businesses, right? Like, it's just, but I'm the same way. As, like, put me in a room of strangers, like, I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't have to, and I actually, when I go to stuff like that, I realize it's more of an opportunity for, the first time I went, people were like, oh, are you trying to, like, poach people for your thing? Yeah. And I was like, no, like, I'm here, the way I look at it is, like, I'm here if any of you need help or support from the people that are part of our community. I'm here to support them and support you. Like, I make connections. That's what I do, and try to have or as much as I can, just try to influence. We don't have to start with what do you do, right? Yeah. And just try to navigate that a little bit more. But it's been fun for me. It's just, one, I like the dinner type thing, and I enjoy that. We do it, we organize it, so it's nice to not to go to something that we didn't
you
put
just
together.
Show up. Somebody else put it together.
Yeah.
What's the name of the thing?
Entrepreneurs Dinner Club.
I get so many ads on social for that. I've never signed up for it. Okay.
I had a friend of mine in Chicago went, and then actually the owner of it happened to be in Chicago, and he met him, and I had the same thing, got a bunch of Instagram ads. His background is, so he got to talk to him, and, like, that was what made it interesting. I was like, I've seen it, I'll go check it out here. And I've met some good people with it, for sure, and it's a mixed bag, right?
Like anything.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious intentions of why someone might sign up for a dinner for time, whether it's Time Left or the Entrepreneurs Dinner Club or whatever it might be. And so last night you got to experience one of our Savor dinners. So what was different about last night's dinner and some of these others that you've really enjoyed?
It's hard to say it was just the people, but the people there were, like, crazy supportive last night. It was such a cool environment. And Time Left's a little different because nobody knows each other. There were already people at the dinner last night who had some familiarity.
Totally.
So, and that helped, right? Because there's already people having conversations. But just, I don't know, I think it's like the idea of Time Left, but much more elevated. So everyone's there with similar intentions. You don't join something like 6 Degrees if you aren't looking to go beyond just basic networking, right? Like, you have an intention to connect with people, right? So then you get a bunch of people with that same intention in a room with cool ambiance, minus the heat.
It was a little warm.
It was warm when we got inside, with just like-minded people and similar, like, all had success in their own way, but they're trying to do more than just exchange business. I don't know. It's just, you get that many people with the same idea and the same kind of, at least somewhat similar personalities.
Yeah.
It's just a recipe for awesomeness.
Magic happens for sure.
So with the Time Left dinners, as an extra, and so it's never all extroverts, right? So it's also my nature. I sit at one of those dinners and I'm usually stimulating the conversation. And last night, there were lots of people stimulating the conversation. All that does is energize me even more. So I think that was the key difference, is there was some familiarity. Just everyone who's there is not just somebody who saw an ad on social media and just signed up for a single dinner. Like, they went through the process. They paid the registration fee. They went through the interview with you guys.
Yeah.
And then they got to that dinner. It's like your screening process is only introducing people who are going to have an awesome time with like-minded people. And that's what I experienced.
Yeah.
Like, I felt so, and I'm like this anyway, but I felt even more energized than normal to go and say hi to the people that were on the other side of the table at the end of the night. I made it a point to say hi to everybody, because I had such a good time on the left side, over on Eric's side, that I was like, okay, I just really want to say hi to these other people because I know I'm going to interact with them again. I'm excited to get to know them too. So it was just, I was riding high.
So I love that, because part of it, and I didn't say this yesterday when I just kind of give everyone set the expectations, is this isn't about meeting everyone at the table, right? We really try to think through, there's 12 people here. Who are the 2 or 3 that we can kind of put this together in a way that makes the most sense? And we change it like 4 or 5 times, but there's a rhyme and a reason to it. And hopefully you connect with just one person or maybe a couple, and then now you've seen someone's going to look familiar, and maybe you sit next to them at the different one, right, or a different time, or run into them in one of the groups or one of the other things. Right. It's like, and we've had people been really interesting, because from a networking standpoint, the way networking works is like, oh, I need to meet everyone here. I need to,
yes,
right. And we've had people say, oh, like, you guys should have it change seats, like kind of like musical chairs or speed dating type thing. I was like, that's not what this is for.
No.
I actually want you to sit next to someone, even if we know each other, and sit next to them for 3 hours, because I guarantee you don't know everything about that person.
Right.
You
even
can't.
after 3 hours, like you said, yeah, you're not going to know everything you know at 3
but
hours.
even if we're friends and we've been to other things and we hung out, like sitting, like just having that space to a couple hours and shared meal and shared experience, it builds in a very different way. That's part of the magic and the mix. And yeah, some people have some familiarity and some people are new. And then I don't know, this year specifically, the energy in the room is like lightning in a bottle every time. And I don't know that we've done anything necessarily different to make, but it just really.
I was about to ask, what do you guys think you did differently?
I mean, I do think that about a year ago is when we implemented the application and interview process. The application existed previously. It wasn't as in depth as it is now, and it was different questions, and even that Eric, you've worked on and kind of have updated even some more recent questions. So I think that has a big part of it. So when we talk about like the like-mindedness, and it's all based on those shared values, and so I think, Eric, you and I have just gotten sharper and sharper and sharper at interviewing for the person that truly belongs in this room.
That makes sense.
And as someone who has been in management for so long, which means I've led people for so long.
Yeah.
And I've worked at companies, brokerages, where it'll be the same company. So we'll say, I worked at a Coldwell Banker. I ran through different Coldwell Bankers, but let's say a Coldwell Banker in the Bay Area. There's 13 different offices in the region. Technically, they're all Coldwell Banker. Right. But every single office has a completely different culture, atmosphere, and vibe than the next one. And it has to do with the people who are running it, and therefore the people that they're bringing in underneath. Right. So anytime you're, I don't want to say selective, kind of, but intentional on the type of people you're bringing into any environment, it's going to elevate the experience. So I think that plus the curation that you were talking about. It's not like, hey, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, sit up. No, let's think about this. There's a meetup group that I recently got involved with, which is already better than all the other meetup groups, and she just started it. It's called Frenzy, like friends but with a Z and Y for like, I don't know.
Yeah, cool. Like Frenzy.
Yeah. She's got a marketing background. Yeah. But she's just a one-woman show. Every event that she does is highly curated. So we did a coffee crawl. Like we went to 3 different coffee shops. Nice. But in between each one, and she organizes it ahead of time. You pay ahead of time, similar to you guys. You just show up and get the experience. But beyond that, walking between each coffee shop, she pairs up people. Make sure it's people that you didn't come with. There's like a trivia, and then you have to work with this person that you're forced to talk to them, but in a good way. Yeah. And you're walking and talking, and you're answering questions, and suddenly you bond. And the next one, so from coffee shop 2 to coffee shop 3, pairs up 2 completely different people.
I love it.
And all the other ones are kind of what we talked about with all the other networking stuff. It's like show up, and I kind of feel like I need to talk to everybody. And I'm not saying you don't have a good time, but it's so much different when there's thought put into it, into the actual, what is this experience going to be like? Not just like, hey, let's pick a cool place and have a cool idea and hope that everybody has a good time. Like, no, let's make it so that there's a high likelihood that people have a good time. Yeah.
I love when people put the intention and spend the time and really think through stuff, because that's what we really, why we got into this is like the bar for networking is pretty low, right? And some of it is you can just throw some great people in the room together, and sometimes great things happen, right? To me, there's just such a better way to do, like, instead of just throwing something together and like throw some drinks, buy some stuff and throw it on a table, throw some drinks out and go, we're doing the thing, right?
We're partying, we'll have a good time.
And like, again, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. It's just there's, to me, the levels and the opportunity with it, because when it's a shared experience and it's a curated shared experience, like now I'm the way I'm actually connecting with that other person, or the memory that's actually being made isn't exactly like all these other things, right? And so it feels different, right? And that's something that we have people talk about to us a lot about, is like, this feels different. I don't know why or how, we know why or how because we put a lot of thought into all of it.
Well,
But I love that, like, that there's someone doing that. So I want to go back to what you said. So the Coldwell Banker thing, you've been managing people. Take us, how did you get to where you are now? Give us the rundown of the last few years.
So I was going to ask, how far back do you want me to go?
As far back as you want, right?
Okay.
So are you from here originally?
No.
Where are you from?
So I was born and raised in North Carolina. So
Okay.
raised in the South, like had a Southern accent and everything for the first.
I think I still hear a
16.
little bit of it.
You hear that I'm not from the West Coast, but it's not. Like I
Sure.
used to sound like this. I mean, it was like an actual, like, full-on Southern accent.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And then I moved to South Florida when I was 16, which is not the South, right? There's plenty of parts of Florida that are the South. South Florida, Hollywood, so like Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, it's not the South.
Yeah.
I also grew up very shy, but I didn't want to be shy. I recognized, really starting in middle school, that, like, I don't want to be the shy kid.
Yeah.
But I felt typecast. Because you go to elementary school with the kids who then go to your middle school. And then I went to high school. My freshman year was also still in North Carolina. So even then, I'm like, I got a little bit more social, but I'm like, most of these kids know me as, like, the shy kid. That's not me. So then my parents said we were moving to Florida. I was ecstatic. Like, oh, I get to reinvent myself.
Rebrand.
Wow.
Rebrand. Yeah, I rebranded myself at 16. So before my sophomore year, we moved to Hollywood, Florida. And I was dead set, and my friends joke that, like, they're like, oh, you wouldn't shut up when we first met you. I was talking to everybody, but one of the things they would mention, and maybe not my friends, but kids would say, high school kids, they would comment about my accent.
Sure. So
Right?
so
like
very,
little
very
teasing
self, very
things.
become
That's where
very,
you
very
started to get rid of
self-conscious.
it?
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be this social person, like, and people have remarked on that, I don't want to sound like that anymore. So
Sure.
it was very much a conscious decision to sound more, I guess, neutral. So lived in Florida for 10 years, finished my high school there, went to college in Florida, met the mother of my child who is, we're divorced, but we were together for 23 years. And 6 months after we got married in Florida, moved to New York City.
Okay.
So my son was born in the Upper West Side. We lived in New York. Even before, he was born in 2013. We were two 20-something newlyweds living in Manhattan, having the best time of our lives.
Wow.
I would
Yeah.
love to be in my 20s living in New York and being able to afford living in New York and
Yeah.
experiencing it would be, for a couple of years, would be so much fun.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. Everything we wanted it to be, and everything changed once we had our son, because that's
Sure.
just, no matter where you live, you have a kid, everything about your life changes. But from 2007 to 2013, living in the city, and, like, we didn't have a car, we take the train everywhere. I mean, the city life that you think of at that, and being in your 20s, it was just fantastic. Wouldn't trade it for anything. I want to eventually own a condo or a pied-a-terre, a place in Manhattan that I can just go to when I feel like
so
it.
cool. I
Yeah.
would love that.
That's what I always, before I left Chicago, that was always, I was like, I want to be a snowbird before I am too old and I actually need to be a snowbird.
Right.
But I
Yeah.
would love to have a place back in Chicago that I can go to and have as home.
Have that experience, that city experience,
Yeah.
for just enough time
Just to
until you're like,
taste it.
okay, let me go back to the
just to
Yeah.
taste it. I think
Yeah.
it's still on the list for me. But New York is where you'd want to have that.
That's at least one of the. I mean,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
dreaming, and I'm a dreamer. I have places all over the place. But yeah, there was an energy. So what made me move to New York in the first place,
Yeah.
and it was, my ex she was always enamored with it. She grew up on a farm in Florida, but she always she felt out of place her whole life. And she's 3 years younger than me. When she graduated college, I bought her her graduation present was I bought her a trip to New York. We had both never been. And I was fascinated, like anybody in the U.S., like, oh, it's cool to visit New York City, but I wasn't enamored.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait. It was like her dream to go to New York.
Yeah.
But even without me being all that excited, within 5 minutes of being in the city, we looked at each other. We said, we have to live here someday. That was 2005. We weren't even engaged yet.
Wow.
And then we got married 2006. 6 months later, we moved to New York. And it was a fantastic
How
experience.
long were you there?
13 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we lived in Long Island and Westchester too, but the entire New York experience was 13 years. Once we had our son, besides the fact that everything changes about your relationship and whatnot, living in Manhattan becomes an entirely different experience.
Yeah.
When you have a kid. There's no
Sure.
car. She stayed home with him for the first year, and she's very ambitious, very career woman, so that had its own pressures.
Sure.
Dealing with the cold. You're taking a newborn. You can't stay in your apartment all day, so you have to, like, bundle your newborn up, put him in the little stroller, walk him around. You got to carry the stroller into the subway. It's all sorts of stuff. So then you move to the suburbs, but the downside of that is you don't get the New York magic living in the suburbs. Westchester County, Long Island,
Right.
and they've made lots. I still have friends that live in Long Island. There's no hard feelings, but that's not New York,
No.
right?
So
So
it
then
doesn't have that energy like that.
doesn't-
That magic
it doesn't.
isn't
It's
there.
completely. It's just a suburban experience like anything else. You might have access to the city, If you live in a suburb in a different, you don't have, unless you're a suburb of Chicago, you don't have that.
Yeah.
But it's still suburban living, and you can have suburban living pretty much anywhere in the U.S. So then the magic isn't there, and all the struggles of living in the Northeast, the weather in particular, the lack of sunlight, all those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That starts to hit you more. So then you start saying, okay, where else can we live? And we weren't considering California, but we knew our eye was on it in like a fascination standpoint. So we booked a trip to San Diego, actually, in 2019.
Okay.
And after we had booked the trip, my ex is in tech. She was reached out to by Google recruiters, like trying to hire her.
Yeah.
And they put her through like a 3 or 4 month interview process. And the interview just happened to line up with when we were going to be in San Diego. So literally in the middle of our trip, she flew up to the Bay Area to meet with Google. And since we were there, I'm like, well, I might as well fly up and meet. So she came back and I flew up and met with who would eventually be my boss at Coldwell Banker. I was working at a Coldwell Banker in New York. So we had booked a trip. Point is, we booked a trip to San Diego without any intention of ever living here. That was July 2019. January 1st, 2020, we moved to Northern California because once she did get an offer, it was from Facebook. She worked at Instagram.
Okay.
We're like, okay, this is our foot in the door, and then we'll eventually make our way down to Southern California.
Okay, that was always the goal.
That was always the goal, was let's just get to California in the first place. This was like right before COVID hit, so before all the companies stopped doing like they had all the perks for working in office. So Facebook paid for our entire move. They shipped our car. Wow. They gave us like 25 grand on top. After everything, it'd be like, just here's some moving expenses. So they made it super easy, got us into California. And then, so we lived in Mountain View at first, bought a place in San Jose. And then our son was going into middle school, and it was like we were getting the itch to finally come down to Southern California. We're like, when are we going to do it? Okay, he's switching schools anyway. This is a good time. And we're looking at San Diego originally, but couldn't find the right combination. You got school zones, right? You couldn't find the right combination of the good schools, but affordable housing, all that.
Right.
And then we stumbled upon this community in Rancho Mission Viejo in Southern Orange County, and it just seemed perfect. And so same thing. We're like, okay, let's just get there.
Yeah.
And then we can go to San Diego later.
Stepping stone to the next spot.
Right. And so fast forward to now where when I was after my divorce, looking to explore for various reasons, switching jobs, I was talking to one of the big brokerages that I had been working at in San Diego, told one of my friends who runs her own brokerage in San Diego, brand new brokerage, small, young, growing. And she likes to say it was a joke, but she's like, why don't you just come work for me? You're already looking to work in San Diego. And I'm like, what does that look like? And it took us a day to figure it all out. And then I resigned a few days later. And now I work in the beautiful town of La Jolla every day. And I drive down, and I will be moving here ideally next summer. So that's my whole journey.
I love it.
But San Diego to me is the final destination.
Okay, this is the final stop.
This is it. I freaking love San Diego. Yeah.
I mean, it is paradise.
It is.
So.
It's as good as it gets. I know. It's like it is the best there is. Yeah. So
in the U.S., I can't imagine living anywhere else.
Right.
Just climate-wise,
correct.
You can't beat it.
The only thing that could even compare is Hawaii, and it's so remote.
And Hawaii it's an island.
It's an
right?
island.
So
it's
literally,
isolated.
and then there's like the tropicalness of it. It's more like Florida than it is here.
Good
right?
point. Good point.
We were talking to someone recently. Like, yeah, it rained like 4 times. Like, yeah, it's tropical.
Yeah.
Sprinkles.
That's what happens.
Just enough to get everything wet.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Florida, especially in the summer, it'll rain almost every day.
Right.
For like 20 minutes.
Right.
And it won't be super heavy downpour, but you can count on it raining every day. It's just like tropical. Yeah.
What part of North Carolina did you grow up in?
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem. Okay.
Yeah.
My dad he's out in Raleigh, like out near Raleigh.
Raleigh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, capital.
Yeah.
Winston-Salem, do you know what it's known for?
Salem witch trials?
That was like if Salem's...
It's not. Salem that's Massachusetts.
Oh, that's Massachusetts.
Yeah. But it is the cigarette capital of the world. So that is where R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company and Philip Morris are located.
Oh, like Salem. Oh, that kind of Salem.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Salem cigarettes.
Yeah.
That's named after Winston-Salem. Yes, that is correct.
Ah,
yeah.
That's my dad. That's the green one, right? I think that's.
Oh, I don't know. I never smoked.
I think it's.
Somehow got out of there and never smoked a single cigarette.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's my dad's cigarette.
His brand.
I think so. The
Okay.
Salem. I think. I don't know. It's a green.
You don't know what
packaging.
kind of cigarettes your dad smokes? What kind of daughter are you?
Now you gotta know. Now you're
I
gonna
know,
be
he's literally like been smoking my entire life. I don't know when he started.
Dad, just real quick, good to see you. can I see your cigarette cartons? I really need to know.
I need to know.
I need to know the brand.
I'm almost 100%. I can see the green, and I think it says Salem on it.
It sounds
so,
right. And now
yeah.
in my head, and it could just be because you said that, now I'm picturing the green package. I'm like, it's like light, like limeish green. Yeah. Okay, I can see that.
That's
But
so
yeah,
funny.
so it's the cigarette capital, at least of the U.S., but I'm pretty sure of the world, to the point where, and I don't know if they still do this, when you're in 3rd grade, the big field trip is the tobacco plant.
No way.
So they take the 8-year-olds through the tobacco plant, and it smells so good, and you see how they make it. And what do you think they give all the kids at the end, or at least they did? This is the 80s.
I'm like, oh.
Candy cigarettes.
The candy ones.
They were so freaking good. They were, and what happens when I get, because I was there for 1 year of high school, and what happens when you're there in high school? The entire freaking high school smoked cigarettes. You couldn't smoke on campus, but you literally crossed the street. As soon as the bell hit, you look out, there's just a large cloud of smoke. All the high schools across the street smoking. I'm like, okay, mission accomplished. Like
So
they
when
knew
you
what they were
say
doing.
That's
cigarette
hilarious.
capital, so like the most people smoking, what makes it the
Just
capital?
because that's where it's all manufactured.
It's just okay. The manufacturing.
The biggest
Largest
cigarette
manufacturing.
manufacturers, or at least once again, this was when I was growing up. Who knows?
Sure.
I'm not a cigarette expert anymore.
Sure.
But yeah, at the time, my high school was called R.J. Reynolds High School. It was named after the tobacco company. I went to a
Wow.
high school named after the tobacco plant.
That's crazy that
It's
they would
nuts.
give you candy cigarettes to 8-year-olds.
Yeah.
And that was the big trip. And
Big trip.
just
Everybody
like,
look forward to it.
Jesus.
Yeah. And that tobacco, have you guys ever smelled pure tobacco? Not tobacco that they sell, but like manufactured tobacco. It smells really good.
I don't know if
like
I've ever smelled like the pure.
you probably wouldn't have unless you'd gone through a tobacco plant. But I
Okay.
still, to this day, I like, olfactory memory or whatever. I can remember what that
Smell
smells
it.
like. And
Yeah.
it's so good. And they take you through, there's glass windows, you can see how all the cigarettes are being rolled and all that. And once again, this was the 80s, so now it could be completely different now.
Sure.
The cigarette, smoking.
I
is not
would
nearly
I
as
would
popular.
hope they're not bringing 8-year-olds to the
8th graders.
Yeah.
Right?
8-year-olds? No, he said 8.
8-year-old.
Oh,
8-year-old.
8-year-old?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was the
okay.
third grade girl.
That's wild.
the third
That's,
grade
even, that's even crazier.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Uh-huh. Kid. Like, you talk about
Oh my
conditioning,
God.
and she's just now hitting her.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
even crazier.
Uh-huh. And you wonder why they were all conditioned by the time they got there. It's
Totally.
because they were
Used to-
literally
yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, someone on their marketing team, definitely. I think that was the whole point. They're like, well, if we want to create a bunch of smokers when they're in high school,
Get them when they're 8.
yeah, get them when they're 8.
We
Start them young.
create our
Yeah.
create our own demand.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to capitalism.
Yeah, that's
That's the
that's
craziest
fucking
thing I've
crazy.
learned.
So other than that, had a great shot. I love living in North Carolina. A lot of I am not one of the South now. We'll say that without getting too much into anything else politically or whatever.
Sure.
But there are a lot of core parts of who I am that came because I was raised in the South. The good parts. I like to think I took the good parts with me and just kind of left all the other
What was
stuff
what
there.
would you say is the best part of living, like growing up in somewhere like North Carolina, in the South?
There is a general sense of, and when you get older, maybe you realize some of it's fake, but it's a very general sense of everybody's friendly.
Sure.
Everybody's nice to everybody. And when you're a kid, you don't see behind that. So all you know is like, be nice to your neighbor. Everybody's nice. You go in the grocery store, everybody's super. I don't just mean like cordial. I mean like over the top. Hi, how you doing? How's your day? All that kind of stuff. And so that's what I grew up with, was just being nice to everybody. And so if I'm in a grocery store, I will talk to the cashier, the bag
Sure.
person. That's just what I'm just used to talking to people, especially the people who are serving you, and being extra nice to them. So that was probably something that stuck up, just that feeling of community. And we were in a suburb. We weren't in like a small little rural area, but still, even in the suburb, you just had
Yeah.
this feeling like everybody was nice and everybody was kind and cared about you.
It's good to hear the Southern hospitality.
Southern hospitality. It's really it. That's really the Southern hospitality. And the food. It was all very bad for you.
Oh yeah.
It
Oh,
tasted
it's
amazing.
It's awful. I mean,
Yeah.
So much butter.
so
but
much butter.
the amount of mayonnaise that goes into casseroles and things
yeah.
in the Midwest. Going to a barbecue in the Midwest, I'm like, what are we eating? Just mayonnaise out of the jar, essentially. Like,
Pretty much.
just put it on everything.
Oh yeah. I still love mayonnaise to this day.
I love it. I do
huge,
love
huge
it.
mayonnaise. I'm just
I
saying.
love it.
Yeah, they got me. I love the mayonnaise.
They 100% got me.
Yeah, nice.
Do you still have family out there?
I do, extended family.
Yeah.
So I have 2 uncles and an aunt. Actually, they all live in North Carolina now. One of them had moved to Illinois, but he moved back. And then I think all of their children still live there.
Okay. Do you go out there at all?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time I was there was right before my dad's father passed away. So he was, and we knew it was, so we were kind of just visiting. Wasn't Christmas time. It was 4th of July. So it would have probably been 4th of July, maybe 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's nice to visit, but in a nostalgic way.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. The other side of it, when you get to high school in North Carolina, or at least in Winston-Salem, there's nothing to do. Nothing to do.
No, nothing to do but get into trouble.
But get into trouble, right? And I was not a troublemaker. The thing all the kids did was hung out at the mall. Like, I mean, it was like mall rats. Like, what do you do? Well, let's go to Haynes Mall. What else are we going to do?
Yeah.
You go to the movies, you go to Haynes Mall. There's no beaches. You can't go hang at the beach.
Right.
We were in the middle of the state, so it's not like let's go hang out in the mountains. You could make a trip there, but it was the mall.
Yeah. In Illinois, it's cornfields. So.
Cornfields, yeah.
Yeah,
Tobacco plants, tobacco fields with us,
fields.
but we didn't go there. Cow tipping, that was,
That was the thing.
done that a couple times. It's one of those things that it's great to visit and be reminded of where I came from, but I don't have to stay long. I love my family, but it's like there's nothing to do in North Carolina. Charlotte's probably different. My grandparents lived in Charlotte, but I didn't get to explore it much.
Sure.
But most of the state is just, it's meant to be just more laid back, environment.
You mentioned, I feel like the timeline that I think I heard was that where you most recently moved to was right when your son was starting middle school.
Yeah.
And that was a few years ago, so now he's in high school?
Not yet. So it was just over 2 years ago. He is going into 8th grade.
Going into 8th grade
Yes.
now. Okay.
So he's 12. He turns 13 in October. He is the youngest in his class because when we relocated from New York, the age cutoff is different.
Oh.
So it's December 1st in New York, and it's September 1st in California, and his birthday's in October. So he was already in 1st grade when we moved, but we weren't going to move him back to kindergarten in the middle of 1st grade. So people say he's 12, but he's going in 8th grade. Yeah, but he's the youngest in his class.
Huh.
And also he's a short kid in general. He's just used to everybody towering over him. But he's excelled. He does great in school, very social. We've moved a lot for him growing up, so he's just adapt everywhere we go. He just makes new friends like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, going into 8th grade. And that's also kind of how I timed the move was, okay, he's one more year in middle school. Even now, he's so independent. I get him every other week as part of the, custody. But even when I have him during the week, during the school year, he does his homework. I'm working, I get home. He has his chores. He takes care of them. We hang out for maybe an hour and he goes to sleep. So I don't get a lot of time with him during the week anyway. And even when I do, he's playing with his friends. Like he's almost a teenager.
He's at that age.
He's at that age.
He's at that age where mom and dad aren't that cool anymore. Like grandma's.
I'm still cool.
Yeah.
But he will choose the friends
but
over
I'm
me.
gonna pick my friends over.
Exactly. Yeah, which I'm cool with. So I'm luckily, and I know I'm not
still
always
cool.
gonna be cool. I'm still
I'm
cool.
still
for now.
cool.
I'm clinging to it, Eric. I'm not gonna let go of that because I know it's on the horizon. But at this moment, I'm still cool.
Nice.
But no, he'll choose his friends, and I get that. But I just know it's gonna be even more amplified when he gets into high school in a year. So I figure, stay one more year, move next summer. He already takes himself to school, so that won't change. He's got an e-bike. He just got an e-bike, but he used to have a scooter. So in high school, he's literally, if I get him on the weekends, that's the time when I would spend quality time with him anyway.
Got it.
Yeah.
What's he getting into? Is there any, either academically, sports, drama, anything that he's been exploring?
I wish he would get into drama. He can be a dramatic kid in a good way. He enjoys sports. He is luckily a football fan like me.
Okay, good.
I don't know what I would do if my son wasn't, but luckily he is. But at least not yet to the degree I am. So he'll watch football with me. He'll set daily fantasy lineups on Sundays.
Okay.
So I've never got him to do a full league. I'm hoping I can get him to do it this year. And he's played flag football and he's had a great experience with that. But he's by no means an athlete. That is not his identity. Me growing up, not that I was an athlete, but my family was a family of athletes. My brother actually played minor league baseball briefly, and he's
Nice.
still is in the Hall of Fame at his college. He set all sorts of records. I
Sure.
was raised in a baseball family, in an athletic family. My son is very much an engineer.
Ooh.
He has an engineer's brain. He's been since he was 2 years old, he would build elaborate marble tracks. We would have to buy him multiple that he could put together. If we bought him just a regular little, he'd be done with it in 10 minutes and be like,
Sure.
that's it. So we'd have to buy different ones that he could combine, and he would make them as tall, half as tall as this room, towering over even us.
Wow.
They were so intricate. And so he's always kind of had that engineer brain. He does really enjoy chess. So that is one thing he's applied. But other than that, video games and YouTube. That's what he does. Huge Minecraft fan. So he gets to kind of use that engineer brain, that architect.
The world builder. Yeah.
World builder. He'll even say, if you ask him what he wants to be when he grow up, he'll say architect. which I'm like, that's cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, definitely an engineering brain, which is not what I am at all. So that's been different. But he's also super social and has never had a problem going up to adults in particular.
Sure.
So it's like he's not one of those, the stereotypical, let's say, introverted engineer. He's not an introvert at all.
Right.
But he's very much, he loves math. He will tell you he loves math. He excels in math, always has. So even though he's the youngest in his class, he still is in all the accelerated math classes and still gets, 97s, 98s as grades. But there's some key differences, which is interesting to see. Like, for instance, I had a girlfriend in kindergarten. Like, I always like girls. My son is about to be a teenager, and he's just like, which is cool. Like,
Sure.
I'd rather delay that, but I don't understand it. I'm like,
like, wait a second.
like, why? Like, and I'm like, are you interested in girls? He's like, yeah, there are. Like, he's not like girls have cooties or anything like that.
Yeah.
But he's just, I just was always thinking about girls. And
Sure.
he's just like, he just wants to think about his buddies and YouTube and and his video games.
Building.
Roblox and Minecraft, yeah. So it's funny when you see the differences and technically they inherited a portion of your DNA, and
Right.
he's got some personalities from his mom, some from me, but he is very much his own person and has been his own person his whole life. His
Yeah.
personality, he can be very much a ham, likes to make people laugh. You saw that at like 18 months old. So it's not even like that was a reflection of our personalities rubbing off on him. So it's just from a human standpoint, from like a human study standpoint, watching a human grow and seeing, okay, whatever their personality was engraved in them. Like, it's part of their DNA. Now you can teach them good things and guide them and be their support system and all that. You can be a positive influence. Nature versus nurture. The nurture definitely has a part to play.
Yeah.
But I didn't know just how much our personalities were wired into us until I had a child and
Sure.
saw, as soon as he could talk, he has been, and my son's name is Vance, he has been Vance, for lack of a better
Yeah.
description.
I mean, it's so true. The nature versus nurture, they both have such a big part. They play a big role. If I think about, Eric, your sister's kids, and how different they are. And there's some of the stereotypical first child versus second child. And I mean, we haven't really seen personality quite yet for the third child being so young. But I think that there is so much of the personality piece is just part of who they are. I mean, for your niece, it's like, where did she come from? Right? I mean, I think your sister says it all the time. It's like, she's so girly and she's so just into things that were definitely not because of her parents, right? And it's like, yeah, that's how she was born.
Yeah. I think we are who we are.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to that, and there's things that can be influences, and then there's traumatic things and these core memories and things that get built and added on.
100%.
But at the core of it, and then it's just like, no, the personality part is kind of it's baked in.
Well, and I wonder, I mean, so everyone has their own beliefs and everything, and so I'm very just like open-minded to all different possibilities. And so, yeah, if we're all made of stardust, and if I have potentially lived multiple lives previously and my soul has traveled, then of course there's going to be pieces of that still with me now in this lifetime and this version of me. And so that could very well be part of that, like what I'm born with, due to the fact that I have things that I'm still carrying with me from a previous time, potentially.
And I love that. But here's how I view it. I've always viewed, I view it now as operating system. Like, if you get Windows XP 10 or whatever it's called, the operating system is always going to function the same. You can put software in that will change some aspects of the operating system, but the core of that operating system is going to remain the same. So like you mentioned, obviously traumatic events, those kind of things can rewrite that operating system to a degree. Learned experiences, role models, people who model your behavior after them, lessons you learn, morals, ethics, all of that stuff.
For sure.
But the core, like the base program,
Yeah.
is always going to be the base program.
Yeah, you're
But I like the Stardust thing too. So.
you're either a Mac or you're a Windows
Yes.
or you're a PC or
correct.
you run on Linux or whatever,
Right.
right? Like, there's only so many, but like that's not going to really ever change. And
Right.
there's upgrades. One of my favorite, when people have birthdays, one of my favorite things I saw someone said that's like, oh no, like especially as I get older, I'm just version 4.2 if I'm 42,
Uh-huh.
right?
That's true.
I was like, that's kind of like, I kind of like the idea of it, but similar to what you're talking about, it's like these are upgrades, these are add-ons to the core underlying software.
Right.
we're not most, it's almost, I don't know that anyone is like completely pulling that out and then changing it.
Not taking the motherboard out and then putting a different hard drive in there.
Right.
And if you like, there was something that years ago, like a funny little skit that would come up on Facebook, and it was like life is a RPG, like a role-playing game.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was so funny. So in a role-playing game, you pick your base character, right? You know, you pick your spy or your knight or your paladin or whatever, your mage, and you have certain base. But as you progress, as you learn different skills, like you kind of, so I like, as somebody who grew up with video games, like I like that too, like this idea of like, and it was done in a humorous angle, and I'm not doing it justice, but it was like going through life as though life was an RPG, and like you're leveling up and you get different bonus points. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just how I think, having watched that at such a young age, and you've seen it, like you mentioned, with his nieces and nephews, so we have some sort of core programming from the start, whether that's because of past lives or because of DNA programming or both, who knows. But
what was your favorite video game growing up?
I don't know. I was literally gonna ask. I was like, "What's your favorite RPG?"
Yeah, that's gonna go on. Well, Star Wars is a huge part of like who I am.
Fun.
Like my identity was forged. I also was raised on movies in general. My family had an entire closet stacked with VHS. Like me and my brothers to this day will speak in quotes with each other. Yeah. Used to drive my ex crazy because we would get together.
It's your own language.
It's our own language.
I have friends like that.
Yeah, we would just talk. We wouldn't say anything that made sense to anyone unless you had seen those movies. But it was because we were raised on movies, and for whatever reason, of all of those movies, Star Wars had the biggest impact. I think there was a few reasons. One, to me, it was so black and white: the good guys, the bad guys, the Jedi, the Sith.
Yeah.
And I just so resonated with that. Number two, for whatever reason, of all the movies my family owned, they didn't own the Star Wars trilogy. And so I only got to watch it when we would visit my uncle, who was a big Star Wars fan. And so every time so it was also a treat. Sure. It was like this thing that I only got in certain times. But for whatever reason, it just so stuck with me. So my favorite RPGs of all time are all Star Wars games. Okay. Like Knights of the Old Republic, 100%. Star Wars The Old Republic, which is an MMORPG that I played for a long time. Star Wars Galaxies, which existed before both of those, which is, it predated World of Warcraft. It was like this completely immersive multiplayer online game built in the Star Wars universe. And it even started off where there were no Jedi. It was just everyday life. Like you were a smuggler, you were what?
Sure.
So it was just, that would have been like 2004 or 5 when I was playing that game. Sure. But then if you go back to my childhood, I mean, like obviously all the Madden football games, naturally, that doesn't surprise.
Yeah.
We had the Sega, we had the Nintendo, so we would play Sonic, we would play, big Street Fighter fan. Love Mortal Kombat, but Street Fighter is my jam. I can't wait to see the new movie. It looks exactly like the game. All the Marios. My mom worked for, I can't remember who she worked, it wasn't Toys R Us, but she worked for a company that was a vendor at Toys R Us. So she literally would work at Toys R Us, but they would also send her different things that, I don't know, to try them or sample. We got a whole bunch of video games for free, is what I'm saying.
That's awesome.
It was so cool.
It's an amazing thing as a kid.
So good. So I got to play so many games like right when they came out or like right before they came out. But we had you guys know what the Intellivision is?
No.
So it was like it either predated Atari or came out right around the same time as Atari.
Okay. It
was one of the first ever like consoles. Period.
Never even heard of it.
I know, it's crazy. It was not
very widely distributed.
Intellivision. Like in your television, because it was a video game in your television. It was the first time that stuff was widespread, or just getting widespread. So we had that when we were like, I don't know, 7 or 8 years old, like in the mid to late 80s.
That's pretty
So
cool.
Yeah, in addition to movies, very much raised on video games. Still to this day, like I'll play games with my son. He loves playing Roblox and Minecraft. I'll play that stuff with him. But Halo. So like we'll play Halo together. He loves playing Halo. He gets really worked up. So sometimes we have to get, like, okay, let's take a break. But Halo, the Mario games, Mario Kart, Mario Party. He has a Nintendo Switch. Yeah, just I don't know. You put a game in front of me, I'm going to play it. So yeah.
So when I grew up, my neighbors were basically what you're describing. They had all the systems, all the games, and I spent a lot of time over there. And because they had it, kind of the opposite of what you said for Star Wars, I would go there and they were already so good at all the games. I'm like, this isn't fun.
Yeah.
Like I got so disheartened by video games because we'd play Halo and I would have like 5 kills. They'd have like 30 35 each. I'm like, can we do something different?
Can we play something else?
I saw like a lot of my friends they just got so good at all the games. I'm like, I don't care.
I had a similar experience, but instead of friends, it was my two brothers.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, especially the middle brother, so I'm the oldest. I guess we didn't get into that. I'm the oldest of 4. My parents had 3 boys in 3 years, and then 10 years later, a little girl. So my sister's almost 13 years younger than me. But for most of my childhood, it was just 3 boys. The middle brother, and the younger one too, they were just naturally so good at everything.
Yeah.
I could work to be good at anything. Like, I like to think I can be pretty successful at whatever I try, but a lot of stuff they just would sit down and they were good at it. So I got used to very early on, I'm not going to win most of the time. So I don't know if it was my personality, maybe a combination, or just conditioned to that.
Yeah.
Because it's also your brothers. It's not, okay, you don't have to go to your friend's house. I can't avoid playing games with my brothers.
Yeah.
So I just got used to early on of just like, okay, I'm just here for fun, and I'm still competitive.
Yeah.
But losing doesn't affect me like it affects a lot of people, I guess, because I just got so used to it.
Sure.
I love winning. Like, there's this old question, not an old question, but I'll ask it in interviews sometimes, where it's like, do you love winning or you hate losing?
Right.
And it's meant to determine, there's not a right or wrong answer. It's meant to determine motivation. It's more how they describe their answer. That, because in any sales job, and real estate in particular, I'm trying to determine drive. Because I can teach everybody how to be a successful real estate agent. It's actually very simple. It's not rocket science. Anybody could be a successful real estate agent. The thing I can't teach is the drive, because they're all independent contractors, so I can't make them do anything. And one of the questions I would ask is that whole, do you love to win or do you hate to lose? And people who love to win, like me, like, if they lose, it's like they don't love it. I mean, nobody loves to lose, but it really doesn't knock me on my ass too much. But I love the feeling of winning. Like, I will compete to seek out that feeling of winning. And then there's people who cannot stand, they will do anything they can to just not lose.
Yeah.
And if they do lose, it gets in their head and drives them crazy. Interestingly, in the sales world, that person tends to find more success. The person who can't stand losing, because they will work their ass off to avoid failing. Whereas the person who just loves to win, they're not as motivated of failure. It can be better for resilience, because I can lose over and over again and I'm fine.
Right.
But I don't have that fire to where I'm so scared of the fire that I'm going to keep working until I succeed. So just side note, I've found that in real estate, not always, I've seen some very successful people who love to win, but it's the ones who really hate losing. Those are the ones with the greatest drive. And they will keep working to avoid that fire, to keep working to avoid that failure.
It's a really interesting question. I just think of specifically of athletes, but of how they will describe, like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, some of the
literally the two I just thought of.
Like those are the people that go, I hate losing way more than I love winning.
Correct.
Right. And that's where some of that drive comes from. And
you see, I mean, Brady showed a lot of emotion, and even from a coaching perspective, I think Belichick was like that. Because when Belichick would win, he didn't look like he had a miserable time.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't look happy.
You just won the Super Bowl for the 6th time. Why do you not look excited? But he would just be horrible and wouldn't want to talk to reporters if he lost. But say what you want, he's got more Super Bowl wins than anybody else.
Still not in the Hall of Fame.
That's a whole. Don't get me started on that. I'm a Dolphins fan. I am not a Belichick fan. But that is maybe the single biggest
it's insane.
stain on the Hall of Fame, to not put the most winningest Super Bowl coach in the Super Bowl era in the Hall of Fame.
It's an absolute joke and a disgrace to whoever is like, how, like, there's a sketch, I'll send you the sketch, but basically he breaks it down of all of Bill Belichick's accomplishments each, so like most Super Bowl wins, like in their own category, and just compares them to like other people that are already in
the
he
Hall.
has, like, if he just did this one thing he would be the best coach. But he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I'll try to find the clip. It's a funny clip.
It's
just
so
like
true.
the perspective of it, like
it's insane. Like there's
so petty. It's
no
so
argument. There is
freaking petty.
no valid argument objectively that you can make that he shouldn't be in the Hall.
No.
None.
There's no reason other than people don't like him.
Correct. Which is not a reason. That's not what the Hall of, it's not a popularity contest.
No.
I can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
So Miami fan.
Yes. For better or for worse.
When became a Miami fan when you moved down there, or
my whole life.
Whole life?
Yeah.
Brothers also Miami fans?
No, and I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So my mom was raised in South Florida, and so all her siblings are from South, and she's one of 7.
Okay.
So I had lots of uncles. So I was introduced to the Dolphins at a young age, and I can't say exactly what age, but there's pictures of me at like 6 years old in a full Dolphins uniform, like helmet and everything. So I know it was my whole life. For whatever reason, not whatever reason, I know exactly why. My youngest brother, I guess he just didn't have that same attachment to the Dolphins, so he ended up being a Panthers fan because that's where we grew up. That makes sense. My middle brother, and if you know my middle brother, this makes sense for him too. He kept changing. He couldn't be the same as me. Didn't want to be, he's very much middle child. Yeah. So he started off like a Washington fan. It was Redskins back in the 80s. Then he was a Jets fan because they were the rival of the Dolphins. And to his credit, he's a Steelers fan now, and he's been a Steelers fan the rest of his life. I don't know how he ever came around to Pittsburgh. I'm not even sure he's even been to Pittsburgh at this age. He's, early 40s. But he's a Steelers fan. So my dad grew up a Falcons fan, but kind of has become more of a Dolphins fan. My dad grew up in Mississippi, and was born and raised in Mississippi, and then spent a lot of time in Greenville, South Carolina. He went to Clemson. So the closest, like the Atlanta teams were the closest. So grew up Atlanta Braves fans, huge Atlanta Braves fans, and Falcons fans. But he didn't care about the Falcons as much, so he's adopted the Dolphins. But I'm Dolphins fan my entire life.
But you said, I think I heard you say that your family was more a baseball family, or was that just in terms of being active in sports and stuff?
As a fandom too growing up.
Fandom too?
Yeah. I would say the number one sport we cheered for growing up was Clemson football.
Okay.
So my dad wears Clemson gear every day of his life.
That's Christina's dad.
Every day of his life. For the Chiefs or for a college?
Well, for both.
Okay.
So yeah, Kansas State University,
Okay.
and which is also my alma mater. But yeah,
Nice.
It's either one of the two.
Wildcats.
Like, yes, yes, the Wildcats. Yes.
There you go. I know all the colleges. Because I grew up more in college football than the pros. I was a huge college football fan. That's also the South. College football is a religion in the South.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad went to Clemson. He was obsessed with, to this day, you meet him, he will be in an orange or purple shirt unless he's in his work shirt. That's just how he is. So that's how we were raised. And the second was the Braves.
Got it.
Huge Braves fan growing up.
In the 90s.
Dale
90s
Murphy.
Braves.
And Dale Murphy was like the end of when they sucked. They were last place every year, and he kind of end of 80s, early 90s. And then we got your Greg Maddux and John Smoltz, David Justice, that whole era. Always going and never winning, and then finally winning in 96 against the Indians. Those were our two sports. And I always liked the Dolphins. I enjoyed NFL. But it was never, this is like third on the pecking order. And then we moved to Florida, and I went to school. I knew I wanted to go to a big football school. That was all I cared about. Well, two things. I wanted to, similar?
Yeah, I was thinking about going to Texas A&M Corpus Christi only because their campus is on an island, and I thought that was really cool. But I had no business going there. Like that, there's no other reason.
Just
other
the
than,
novelty of it's an
yeah,
island.
I was like, oh, is it an island? That's so just count me in. And then the closer I got to my dad, and that's who really instilled like this fandom in me, because it was just our way of bonding and doing something together. And that, to me, I've said the Texas A&M Corpus Christi campus did not have a football team. They're a tiny little school. So I said, well, I can't go there. I can't go to a school that doesn't have football. That's crazy.
100%. I made a similar decision.
Yeah.
Nope,
so I can relate. So I went to Kansas State because it's, football.
Football.
Yeah.
I went to a school that doesn't have football.
Yeah, so we're just going to, and I'm going to have this conversation. You can just, no, so we're in Florida. So there was a second criteria, and it was not because I don't love my parents. I very much do. But I'm very independent. And so there were two things. One, had to be a football school, big football school. Two, it had to be far away. But I also had a Florida scholarship. So I had to stay in the state of Florida. So those are, I guess, my three criteria / restrictions. And we lived in South Florida. So I wasn't going to go to the University of Miami. So didn't apply there. Wasn't going to go to the University of Florida because, I don't know, it had a, and not from an academic standpoint, but it was like, the Gators. Yeah. Right? So Florida State was all that was left.
Sure.
So I'm like, it's 7 hours away. It's in the ACC. I grew up cheering for Clemson. And they had a very good football program. My 99 was my freshman year. We ended up winning the national championship my freshman year. So that just added to it.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Wire to wire. They were number one the entire year, undefeated. Chris Wenke was the quarterback. This was past Work Done was just before that. He was in the pros at that point. But it was amazing. Went to every game. And my entire time I was there, I didn't miss a second of a home. I don't care because shortly after that, we started getting bad. I didn't miss a second. I will not leave early. I don't care if my team's losing 60-0. I will stand there in misery and watch that team. But it was interesting because I was still a diehard Clemson fan when I went there. You know, I couldn't go to Clemson. Out-of-state tuition was just way too much. I had a scholarship to go in Florida, or else I would have gone to Clemson. So the first year, Florida State's one of the best teams, and Clemson's good, but they're not there. Clemson came and played a home game against FSU. I just didn't cheer for anybody. I just sat there and watched. I can't cheer against Clemson. Now I have no trouble doing it.
The opposite was also available. I'd do this like if the Cubs and White Sox are playing.
Yeah.
Everything that happens is exciting.
No matter what, it's a good
thing.
Good outcome.
Just cheer constantly.
Yeah, I'm just clapping all the time.
Every play.
See, I just was like,
you just did it right now.
I thought I would betray whoever. Either I'm betraying my actual school that I'm a student at, or I'm betraying the school that has the team that has mattered more to me than any other team at that point.
Wait, how did your dad feel about you going? He understood. Like, he understood the reasoning. Like, if I had an option to go to Clemson, I would have chose Florida State. I think he would have felt. I know he would have felt hurt, but I didn't have an option. Yeah.
We were not in a position to pay for out-of-state tuition, and that's even if I didn't have a scholarship. And it's like makes it even more of an imbalance when you're like, well, you could go to this school and it won't cost you anything, or you could go to this school and it's going to cost a hell of a lot. Mm-hmm. So it was just, and that was the only school I applied to. Like, I was confident I was going to get it. Probably not the smart decision. I'm going to tell my son, don't do that. But only applied to FSU, got it, and it was great. My dad is also a man of few words. Like, he is, I saw him get angry maybe, I can count it on one hand my entire childhood. He's just an even keel, he's not shy. He's just him. He's just reserved.
Yeah.
So if he had strong opinions, he kept them to himself.
Okay.
And it's friendly now. So he's still obviously a huge Clemson fan. I've gone the other way. I got very comfortable with Florida State. I will still cheer for Clemson over everybody else except FSU.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll do like some it's not even trash talk, because my dad's not a trash talker. It's just light, like ribbing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they got a national championship too, somewhat recently. So he had his success. Yeah.
He had his time.
He had his time.
So at this point, Saturdays and Sundays, but like just college football?
Not anymore.
No.
So it's what my journey to NFL, and eventually the NFL taking over everything, because I don't even watch baseball games anymore.
No.
I will. I love going to games. And I'll watch college football every now and then, but only if it lines up. Number one, my ex hates football.
Oh, no.
Not just like neutral, like tolerates it, loathes it. That was always a problem.
Potentially not the best match.
No. Well, I'm sitting here right now. But it was always, so I had to work around that. And most of this time was before I actually started a company. Once I started a company, it became an entirely different thing. I'm like, I'm working, babe.
Yeah.
But that didn't apply to college football, so I couldn't use that. But no, I think it was a combination of things. I grew up playing every Madden, right? But at one point, I got into Madden franchises, but with other players. And eventually, I didn't start it, but I took over one that had all 32 owners. There was a human controlling all 32 teams.
You're talking about playing the game Madden
against other people.
Basically having GMs.
Yes.
That are running
and so then you have to
we
had a website that tracks statistics. I mean, we went deep on this. It wasn't really podcasts that existed at the time, but we would have like audio files of people trash talking and recapping. It was really in depth. I was the commissioner of that.
Sure, and I would
years.
imagine this is before the headset. I can talk live on the internet, or
no, there was like you had like you could talk through the game. Yeah, no, there were headsets.
Yeah, that still existed.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would have been probably 2012, 2015 area.
Yeah, so that technology was there.
Right.
Podcasts
existed. They just weren't that popular yet at that point. But so I got really into that. So we'd have to schedule, because we would have to schedule the other humans to play them. That was a big thing. But what really did it for me was podcasts. So when I started, I always worked in the city, would take a train, New York. I mentioned we moved to the suburbs. When we lived in Long Island, at first I was still working in the city. I didn't want to not work in Manhattan. But eventually I gave in. I'm like, okay, I got a really good opportunity to work at a place, and also in Long Island. But there's no direct train there. So I had to drive, was my point.
Yeah.
So I used to, when you're on the train, you can put in whatever you want, and I would play Candy Crush and put in music or whatever, but can't play Candy Crush while you're driving. This is before my Tesla days. So I'm like, well, what am I going to listen to? I'm like, I guess I could listen to music, or I could listen to podcasts. But the podcasts, because I was such a college football fan, they were geared around the draft. I just like, who are the college guys going out? And because I was a fantasy football player, that was the other thing added to it. Yeah. I've been playing fantasy football since I was a teenager, and we had to handwrite everything. There were no ESPN or Yahoo or Sleeper. You had to read the Monday morning paper and the box scores to actually track everything, and or watch ESPN primetime because they would recap all the big performers. That's how we tracked fantasy when we first started playing. So I've been playing fantasy for like 30 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about doing it all by hand.
Yeah.
So much time.
Can you imagine, you guys heard at dinner, or maybe you didn't, I'm in 20 leagues. So
I did.
I couldn't do that if I didn't have a platform that managed it for me.
20 is insane.
It is insane.
20, at one point, I think the most I was in was like 4. And I was like, this is stupid.
Okay, that's funny because I was going to make sure that before you left today that I asked if you wanted to join my Survivor League, but now I'm like, I don't know if you should.
Well, Survivors League take very little managing.
Right.
I got to pick a team every
week. I can do it.
He's like, I can do it.
Don't challenge me. I gotta say yes. That's another thing. I have trouble backing down from challenges. So even last night there was a comment, and then I'll come back to the NFL college thing. It wasn't on purpose, but like the bread with, I don't know what was the bread with the cheese or the bread with the bone marrow.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I was eating it and like the crust fell off and I just left the crust there. And 2 different people were like, "Are you one of those that don't eat the crust?" So what did I do? I I'm like, I'll show you that I do. It was accidental. I didn't mean to cut the crust off. But point is, if somebody challenges me, I'll say yes. So I started listening to this podcast because I'm literally driving to work for the first time in however long, because I'd always been taking the trains. And came across, it started off just draft podcasts, but then I'm looking for, okay, that podcast ended, I need another episode. Came across this podcast that quickly hooked me because, and it's still my favorite podcast to this day, the chemistry in the host was so good. Like it's one of those podcasts that you listen to and they feel like they're your friends.
Sure.
Like I look forward you can take away all my other podcasts. I can't not have this podcast.
How long have you been listening to that one?
Well, I started that in 2018. So, 8 years now.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they had already been around for they used to be at NFL Media, and now they're on their own. But they've probably been together as a podcast, I don't know, 14, 15 years. Back when podcasts had just started.
Right. Yeah, like really started to blow up.
So then that's what so now I'm still doing the fantasy, right? I'm still playing Madden a little bit. I'm listening to an NFL podcast religiously all the time. And that's what led me to during COVID when I didn't have a management job because I don't remember if I told you the story, Eric. Coldwell Banker during COVID shut down the office I was running in the Bay Area. But I was such a high-performing manager that they kept me on payroll. And they said, we're going to put you in another position.
Oh, wow.
They were planning to fire somebody else. I knew the whole time what they were doing. Anyway, that took 6 months. So for 6 months during COVID, I had nothing to do, and I was getting a very nice Bay Area real estate.
Is that furlough? Paid furlough?
Paid, but full paid furlough. Yeah, I guess. But it wasn't like, oh, you're getting partial pay. No, I got my full salary.
That's nice.
That's
it was
amazing.
Very nice. So but I'm also bored as hell, right?
Sure.
And that was around my 40th, so it's like, a little bit of midlife, whatever you want to call it. So that's when I started my NFL podcast. So it was just this kind of combination of factors of really starting to consume a lot of NFL content, starting my own NFL podcast, and just immersing myself in all things NFL. And then I find myself on Twitter because I'm trying to promote my podcast. So it's just the NFL just became such an obsession. And then that was October 2020, I started that podcast. Fast forward to late May, early June 2021. And since I'm on Twitter a lot, and there's such a the fantasy community, if you want to find them, they're on Twitter. That's where the fantasy football community is. And so I'm making friends on there, I'm connecting, I'm building a followership for my podcast. And I come across do you know who Peter King is? All right, so he's like he's retired now, he's an iconic NFL journalist, worked for NBC Sports, wrote the column called Monday Morning Quarterback. He was just, he is a legend. He had just done an interview with a startup newsletter called Legit Football. And that was my co-founder, and that was the first edition. He cold emailed Peter King and said, hey, I'm starting this newsletter. Can I interview you? And Peter King answered, it's like, sure, you can interview me. But because he retweeted it, it got on my radar. So then I reached out to my now co-founder, and I said, hey, you got a cool little product. I got a podcast. Why don't we promote each other? I'll put your newsletter in my podcast, and you can do the same, and we'll help each other out. Well, I subscribed to the newsletter as a result, and I start reading it every day, and suddenly I'm looking forward to it. I'm like, this guy knows the NFL like I do. This is really good. And then I go to research, well, that's an interesting business idea. is it a viable business idea? So I start to research business models based around newsletters. The Morning Brew had just sold for $75 million. The Skim had just sold for $35 million, or not Skim, the Hustle had just sold for $35 million. I was like, did I just stumble across my destiny at 40 years old, a sports business that no one has even touched that has that kind of upside? So then that was when I really became obsessed, because then it became my business.
So he already had legit football.
He had just started it.
And had the first interview.
Correct.
When it got on your radar and you guys were trying to cross promote.
Yeah, for the first few weeks. I mean, I was the first person to ever email him. He even thought it was so weird that he had just started this, and he had an ads at Legit Football. So I'm like, okay, I should reach this guy, whoever it is, because to this day, my co-founder's not on social anywhere. He is not. That's not him. I'm the face of the company.
He's great at what he does.
He's great at what he does.
He does the thing.
He puts me out front.
Yeah.
But anyway, I found him. He emailed back. We had a video call, introduced each other. It was just cross promotional, and then I started kind of consulting with him, because he's 15 years younger than me.
Okay.
And I had business experience, so I'm like giving him advice and tips. And it took all of a month before I'm like, I kind of want to build this thing with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
And so I flew up to New York. This was late July 20. So we met at the beginning of June, first time. Late July 2021. I flew to New York City. He lives in Connecticut. He drove down. We had sushi and then walked around Central Park, hashed out a business partnership agreement, and been building the company ever since. But as a result, my whole life is the NFL. So to come back to the original question, I still love baseball. I still love college football. All I think about is the NFL.
The NFL
it consumes all my thoughts.
Priority 1,
priority
2, 3,
1.
and
Yeah.
4. Okay, so Sundays is I'm watching the NFL.
I watch every game.
You're at Red Zone.
Red Zone is only a portion of it. I literally watch every game.
Every second of every minute of it.
Well, I mean, you can't literally watch them all at the same time.
But
every play,
but you're
I
consuming.
have them all on. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have Sunday Ticket. So I'll have
gosh.
the 4. Yeah, it's a little insane. I might need to scale back because it's really hard to concentrate on all of them. So I have the big screen has Sunday Ticket. So I'll have 4 there. I have 2 different laptops, so I can put a single game on this one and a single game on this one, and then I'll have a tablet that'll have Red Zone. So it ends up being 4 total screens.
That's insane.
It is insane. It is.
I've
too
watched
much.
Red Zone as the game cast one time, and I was like, I have anxiety while there's too much going on. And I was just like, I just let me have the one.
I will say this, at the end, it doesn't feel like I had a good time. My nerves feel frayed. They really do. Every time I'm like, I gotta stop doing this, but it's so hard for me not to want to watch. So I think I'm gonna force myself to. I can't just watch a single game, but maybe watch 3 at a time, right? Just one on each 2 laptops. Scale it down to 3. We'll see.
That's
and then still have Red Zone. I gotta at least have Red Zone so I know if somebody scores. So degenerate, man. I admit it. But
do you gamble? Are you gambling?
Not much.
No,
believe it or not.
You just love.
I just love the game.
The game and the sports. And did you play football?
I did. Believe it or not. I played a little bit of Pee Wee football, and I had to beg my parents to do it because I always loved football. Back then it was college, so I got to play a couple years of that. Such a great experience, and then carried that into high school, and I was obviously not. I mean, I'm 5'10", maybe.
Yeah.
Always a small white dude, but I love the game. And I played defense. I played defensive end. So nice. Edge rusher. This guy, edge rusher.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But I wanted to hit rather than be hit. That was part of it.
That's a good.
But I was always so technical, so I had a really good swim move. But I was always small, so I wasn't going to start varsity. But when they put me in, I would always make a play.
Sure. You're the guy that gets to the quarterback
I'm Rudy.
to make him.
They used to call me Rudy.
Yeah.
I was
awesome.
like the unassuming white dude. They put me in and I'd make a play.
Wow.
Go up against giant offensive linemen and then just do like a quick little 2-step, grab them,
swim
over, and I'm in the backfield.
Right.
They'd be like, "Where'd that little dude go?" So
it is fun to watch the little dudes on the field, right?
Yeah.
Like when they're good,
Yeah.
I'm like, look at he just got past. So
and they have
fun.
an edge, right? Because they had to come up being that size.
Yeah.
They had to come up always having a massive disadvantage, and that's why the ones that make it, like you mentioned, Christina, they're just so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because that's
so fun.
And oftentimes 15, 20 years of them just always having to be better than the average player just to get noticed.
Yeah.
And it turns them into such fun players to watch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, here's an open invite for any time Chiefs are playing Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night,
Primetime
because
games.
it's the only time that It's the only game on. If you ever want to join, I pretty much am at home and away in Old Town for every single one of those games.
Okay.
Because it's a Chiefs bar and it's really fun. So
I'm saying yes already. You didn't have to. You could have said Chiefs. I'd be like, just yes. Just count me in. I say yes to most things, but football, anything like that, 100%.
Yeah. Well, and for anyone listening, if anyone ever wants to join, I'm there. I have my table. It's my spot. It's like that place is.
Why not a 6 Degrees football experience? You know.
Well, so honestly, during this whole conversation,
blame the Chargers. If the Chargers were still here, we would.
If they were here, we would
100%
totally have done something. But it's a bummer that we didn't meet you at the time that we had our holiday party. Well, one of them that was here, and we were partnered with the NFL alumni San Diego chapter, and it was all football themed. So we created, we can show you the video. It's really cool just to see like how we transformed this venue, and from our makeshift version of the like football tunnel, and that's how everyone came in.
That's awesome.
And then the gold room that's right behind me, that was quote the locker room. And so I found these lockers on Marketplace or something, and legit like school lockers, and we filled them with all this like football stuff, and everyone had a I guess like access pass. That was their like lanyard. Instead of like a name tag, it was like that. Yeah, it was like this lanyard with it was a whole thing.
Like a media pass.
Yeah, like kind of like that. Yeah. And then we had for all of our sponsors, the way that we did highlight them in certain ways, we had these little helmets that we put their logos on, and we had
mini. I'm sure you've seen the mini football helmets.
Yeah, mini football helmets.
Yeah, we made jerseys that had their company name on it, and we had like a whole jersey wall in here. It was the coolest thing. And then we had a quote like tailgate section outside. And that's where we did. It was so fun. And it was, for me, I have a very different relationship to football and the NFL. For me, it's so much more of an emotional, like I just get so invested in the game and the players and the winning and like all of that. I ride the roller coaster. And
I grew up like that's how I was with college, with Clemson. I would cry if they lose.
No,
Yeah,
I've done
shed many tears for football losses.
Yep, I've cried for wins and losses. Yeah, so, but yeah, so it was really for me like that specific holiday party theme was a dream come true. I was so happy to have football just kind of like throw up all over our event.
That sounds
like
awesome. Heaven. Yeah. What about like a Super Bowl party?
Yeah, no, there's stuff.
There's stuff we could definitely do. Yeah,
we can make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, we can do something.
Let me know what I can help with. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I know we're gonna wrap up here in a minute because an hour and a half just flew by. But
I know it's crazy.
With the legit football,
legit football. The company is technically legit content because we do plan to expand into all the sports.
Okay.
Once we really scale football, college football will probably be next, and then maybe the NBA, MLB, NHL, the whole like UFC. We've in PGA we talked about all sorts of stuff. But yes, legit content will be the overarching company. But legit football is the product. That's what we have right now.
Got it. And then what's the plan? Like, what's where you're at? You've been at it for about 5 years.
Just past 5 years.
What's kind of the next phase? I think you're looking for funding.
We are currently speaking to people and have had various conversations. We do have an original investor who actually is about to put a little bit more money in right now, but he's introducing us to other people. We're looking for a fairly decent size so that we can put most of that into the growth, get more subscribers, get bigger ad deals. So it's a free newsletter. I guess I should describe it.
I was gonna color in a little bit. The subscription is free.
It's 100% free. So the idea is, if anybody's heard of the Morning Brew or the Skim or the Hustle, it's a daily newsletter, or you can think of it as like the president's morning briefing. Like the president of the United States wakes up and he gets a briefing every morning. Here's what you need to know for the day. Mm-hmm. It's that, but for the NFL. So we don't give hot takes. We don't give agendas. There's no opinions. There's no screamy Stephen A. Smith type stuff. It's like, no, here are the facts of the day. Here's what you need to know for the NFL on this day. It's 5 days a week, literally all year long. It's 100% free, and we monetize because we sell ads to advertisers who want to be in front of people who are either NFL fans or sports bet, because people read our newsletter and then use the information for sports betting in the NFL, or they use it for fantasy. We have almost all of our readers, and we have about 16,000 are all fantasy players.
Sure.
So even though we're not a fantasy football newsletter technically, the information and data we give is so in depth that you can use it for a fantasy edge.
Yeah.
So the next step is to get money to increase those subscribers, mainly through paid social media ads. But word of mouth is always nice. A lot of the people last night at the table signed up, and they're like, Camille was like, I'm gonna get you to 100,000 subscribers by a month. I'm like, hey, whatever, let's go. She's like, everybody I know is a sports fan. I'm like, good. But yeah, most of it is through paid acquisition. So we get funding, we get to put most of it into growth, get higher subscriber counts. Not only do you get to charge more, because we base our ad rates on how many people open, because we have a very high open rate. So our open rate varies between 48 and 52%. The industry average for newsletters is 22.
Sure.
So we have a very high, like we know people open our products, so we sell our ads based on that. Well, if we have 100,000 subscribers, 50,000 NFL fans are opening it every day. We base our rate off that versus 8,000. So
Sure.
not only do we get more rates, but we have talked to big advertisers like your DraftKings who have said, we love your product, but you're too small. It doesn't make sense for us to advertise. Get to 100,000 subscribers. We'll work with you. So that's the immediate goal. Beyond that, we are developing, and actually I just got an update this morning that it's a lot closer than I thought it would be. We are developing an AI suite of tools to help fantasy people make decisions based on all these different metrics. So you've played fantasy, Christina?
Yes, and I
Okay.
have a perfect record because I've only played once and I beat everybody in it, and I was like, that's it, I'm good.
You're like, this is easy. What does everybody complain about? Nice. But
Yep.
was it one of those where you had to make decisions on who to start every week?
Mhm.
Yeah. So that the first tool we're developing is a start and sit tool. So it uses like dozens of different data points. So if you're like, I don't know if I should start Rashee Rice or George Pickens because they both have good matchups, they're both pretty similar players. Well, you plug in the legit GM, the legit start sit tool, and it'll say, well, based on the weather and past precedents and all these different data points between these two players, we recommend you start Rashee Rice. And there's such a hunger out there. So we're actually, and that would be a premium product. People would pay to get a separate fantasy newsletter and this whole legit GM, which like help you with your drafts and help you with waiver wires, who's the free agents, all that stuff. We're still developing all that stuff. So that would be the next step. So we get to 100,000 subscribers, we get more ad revenue, we start building out the AI and the premium products, and then hopefully by next summer we expand into our first additional sport, college football, and do the same thing there, and then just copy and paste and turn it into like a fully fledged, full-on sports media company. We will have podcasts and video products for all of them as well, kind of like Barstool Sports, but not crass.
Sure,
You know?
sure.
Right?
Sure.
And hey, what they built was great. I mean, they sold it for $500 million, which helps us know what our ceiling could be. But we don't just want to be a football newsletter. We do want to be a fully fledged sports media company that people recognize, and so that's the grand ambition anyway.
Yeah, well, I just love the simplicity. So even in 2026, and there's so many people that I talk to in marketing that, oh, email's dead, and it's literally you have a whole business around. You have a captive audience,
Yep.
and for the right person that wants to get in front of those people, there is value to that,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's just through an email database, right? Like it's what a simple business.
And it is, and it's low overhead.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a high profit margin. Even when you expand into other sports, you only need one writer per sport.
Right.
And then, you can 1099 a few content creators to do your podcast or just social media stuff, but maybe some salespeople. But you can have a few salespeople that run across all the sports.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You just need one person to write it. So it is simplistic. And the whole email is dead thing is so not true. What's cool about email, and actually it has become more strengthened in the age of social media, because social media still requires the user to actively go on and seek out the content. Email gets delivered directly to the
Right.
person.
It's asynchronous versus
Correct.
right?
Yeah. So that we found that the power. We tried an app. We've tried a few. We were pretty active on social for a while. It was far and away email was the best
Well, the
way to
problem,
deliver the
the
product.
challenge with the apps, and so to create an app, so it's one thing to build an app, and it could be the best app in the
Mm-hmm.
world, but I actually have to change behavior. So, and I have to get people to. So one, I have to get you to download it.
Yeah.
Right. So then all the energy goes into downloading it, because we've had people ask us like, "Oh, do you guys have some sort of thing where?" And we've gone through different versions, but one, I have to get you to download it once. Actually, first, we need awareness. So we need to make you understand that this
Awareness.
exists.
Yeah.
Number two is I need you to take an action to download it. And then three, I need to create a behavior
Mm-hmm.
and have you be on it in a consistent way. And the only way to really do that in today's world is make it addictive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is like, okay, am I just feeding the beast of this other thing?
Yep.
But like, that's how I get people to use the thing. It's almost impossible to have a successful app
Yep.
without doing it that way.
And part of our value proposition when we're telling people is like, So I went to the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio a few weeks ago. Second time we've been there. We sponsored a booth, Legit Football did. Which, by the way, if you like fantasy football or just football in general, because that's where the Hall of Fame is, you got to make a trip to the Fantasy Football Expo.
I've heard it's pretty cool.
It is awesome. But people would come up, and my pitch would be, where do you get your NFL news? And they would say, oh, I go to Twitter, I go to ESPN, I go to Rotoballer, or Fantasy Pros. I'm like, okay, well, what if you didn't have to go to any of those? What if somebody just did it for you, picked out the top stories, and then picked out the most relevant information from that stories, and then just gave it to you for free every morning? You're like, that sounds great. I'm like, welcome to Legit Football. So even the way
easiest sales pitch ever.
So easy. I got some people, literally the only person that didn't sign up after I did that was like, I don't really watch the NFL. I'm like, why am I talking to you?
First question, do you watch the NFL?
Yeah.
But you assume everyone's here. Yeah, you assume everyone's here.
He's like, yeah, I love college football, but I literally don't watch the NFL. I'm like, why are you at a Fantasy Football Expo? But otherwise, everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, here you go, sign up. So the simplicity of it is part of the appeal.
Yeah, it's an easy, and then it sounds like from the way you describe it is like it's really like the way it's done is done really well. Yeah. Right. And so the quality of what you're doing, and without all the noise and the fluff and all the stuff, makes it attractive, I would imagine.
On that same note, and I didn't mention this yet, we spent a year designing it before we ever tried to grow it.
Oh, wow.
When he first launched the newsletter, it looked like crap.
Sure.
And he'll admit it. He's not a designer. But the content was great. That was what hooked me. But there was no images. I don't know if you've seen it yet. I think
I'll sign up for it.
But there were no images. It wasn't clean. It was just all blue text. It was really weird. But the content was great. So like we took a very Apple approach. The design was everything to us. We wanted the experience of the newsletter to be seamless and just like our brand, like no fluff, nothing extra, clean, so you can read it. It looks pretty. You're done with it. And so we spent a year designing exactly what we wanted it to look like. And then we're like, okay, well, now we got to find somebody to actually make this for us. So we had to hire an email developer and have her code it. And so it is full customized HTML, which the downside of that is there's a lot of newsletter platforms we can't use. Sure. Like Beehive is like the newsletter platform these days. In fact, Tyler, who is the founder of Beehive, and he was one of the, if not the original engineers at Morning Brew, he's a Ravens fan, and he's a legit football reader. And we've met with him before. And he wants us on Beehive, and we're like, Tyler, you can't have, like, we've tried.
Yeah.
Because the best they have is templated.
Right.
Like, you can template HTML in each section, and we tried it. It didn't look the same.
I'm so curious of, how you designed it. And how, like, I need to see it.
You should. Yeah.
I need to.
Because
I've gone back and forth, because I think even with what we've done, like, do we include images? Do we have it just be text-based? And I see different versions of people that have success with it, right? It's like less is more, and just do like very simple text, heavy text-based with hyperlink type stuff. And then some things are more better with images and all these different things. But I'm so right now I'm so curious about like what the HTML code that you ended up landing on after a year of research to
trial and error and messing around with it.
Yeah,
you'll see that it's both. So every story has a single image. Like there's a hero image. There's a tiny little tab, almost like a file. Like if you're in a file cabinet, you're sorting through file folders. It's a tiny little tab with the subject is Panthers, Mahomes, whatever it is, and then the hero image, and then the text underneath. But it's all bullet pointed. There's a bold mini subject, and then whatever the little paragraph is. So it is so easy to just skim it, get all the information you need. We still hyperlink to the original article, and source it. So anyone who wants to read the ESPN article that we already read to get that information, by all means, go for it.
Sure.
But very few of our readers do. Like, we can track the clicks. No one ever clicks the links. Mm-hmm. If they do, it's because so every now and then we'll link to a highlight. Patrick Mahomes makes an amazing one-handed, backwards throw. We put the highlight in there. People click on that because they want to see it.
Yeah.
But they don't click on the original stories. But it's just the whole thing. You can literally read the entire newsletter in 5 minutes or less. Sure. Every word.
It sounds like less.
Right. But it still has the images because we knew there was something in football's such a visual sport.
Yeah.
Right? You are watching these players. You recognize the uniforms, the logos. So we needed to have. We started off with no images. It just didn't work.
And you don't have any problem from a licensing standpoint, like using.
No, so there's you pay for. There's different ways you can go about it.
Yeah.
Some of them are free use if it's just on social media and they've already posted that. But there's also licensing where you can pay to license the images.
Got it.
So we've done both. We do a combination of both.
Okay.
If we can use the free ones and save money, because it's like you pay a certain amount and then you get credits. So every time you use one of the licensed photos, it takes away one of your credits. Right. So from a business standpoint, we try to use those only when we can't find what we want.
I'm so curious what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Good.
I'm gonna
You should
subscribe.
sign up.
I know, you're gonna get to sign
It's
up.
free.
I'm subscribing.
Yeah, you should.
Well, I'm excited to. I mean, I love just anyone who loves football because it's just a big part of my life. So I'm gonna leave this conversation with actually another invite for you because Brian DeVore is another member of ours. He's also in real estate, and he shared a MLB ballpark bucket list of going to all of the parks when he was on last, and that sparked for me of, I would love not even just to go to all the stadiums, but to specifically see Kansas City play in all the stadiums. How cool would that be? And then Eric gave me another layer to that, and he said, well, what would be even more cool is if every time that you go to one of these games, you invite somebody who's a fan of the other team.
Nice.
And so there's this fun, just like friendly dynamic of it. So the invite would be when they're playing the Dolphins, then let's
Same
go
as
to the
before.
game.
I said yes in my head like 2 minutes ago.
I know. I didn't even have to
Absolutely.
finish the sentence. You're already like, yep,
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
there.
Done. That's whatever. Football. I don't care. Football. Done. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I have a personal goal of also visiting all the stadiums, but I wanted to do it on behalf of Legit. So it was like once Legit gets rolling,
Yeah.
because then it's like business. And also to go to the Super Bowl, which I've never been at, but go to the Super Bowl as a credentialed person
Sure.
of the media.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's rolling, man.
I think so.
I know, it's
we believe in
exciting.
it, and getting feedback from the fans recently, because I've met with a lot of them, the readers, and just to hear how much they love the product and
Yeah.
they can't start their day without it. Like that's like, I mean, we knew we had a good product, the metrics, and we believe in it, but hearing other people we've never met before on the other side of the country saying they cannot start the day without reading our newsletter, it's
pretty
all
cool.
the validation.
It's
we
pretty
need.
cool.
Hell yeah.
That'll keep you going.
Correct.
That'll keep you
So
going.
we're ready. We're in this as long as it takes us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited, and thank you for coming on our
course.
podcast.
Yeah.
I could talk with you guys for another like 4
I
hours.
know.
I know.
That kind of show.
This goes by
it
so
goes
quick.
so
It
fast,
does,
and
yeah.
it's really easy because it's just like a casual hang, and
Yeah.
the mics just happen to be in front of our face, and
Nice.
that's it. So,
Yeah.
but
We'll
yeah,
have you back.
yeah,
Anytime.
we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Brian mentioned that his ex-wife loathed football. I can't imagine if you loathed football. Like, I can't even imagine what that would be like for our dynamic.
Well, it's kind of it's a little interesting actually, because I mean, just over the last couple of years, like I just care less and less. I definitely don't loathe it. Loathe is such a strong word. Yeah, I just care. I don't care as much about it, which is interesting. Just sports in general. I think we've talked about how it's basically just The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and reality TV for dudes. And there's something about that part of it. And then like being a grown man wearing another man's name on my back. Like it's like, what am I doing? I feel like if anything I should be like a WNBA fan if I'm gonna wear a jersey.
Yeah, that's a solid point. Yeah, the sports world. I mean, even talking about this whole potential strike in the MLB, it's all just so much drama. Yeah, it's another form of reality TV. How many talk shows and podcasts, and there's so much out there that it's not even just the game. It's not like we're just watching the game. There's the game, and then there's the post game, and then there's the people who have whatever talk shows that they're comparing these players, and then there's like the dissecting people's personal lives that tie into all this shit. Like it's so dramatic.
Yeah, then there's the reaction to the reaction to the reaction. So it's like someone says something, and then someone, the commentator or the analyst says another thing, and then he says something negative about another analyst, and now it's just this like bitch fest. Like, I hate it. I mean, it's part of what I really appreciate about what Brian is building. Of just, it's this, here's what happened, and there's no angle, there's no politics, there's no. It's just, here's the cold hard facts. It's black and white. Here, this person got hurt. they won't be playing for 4 weeks or whatever the news is, and it's without all the peanut gallery and the side talk and all this stuff. But yeah, it's that, I think that part of sports, I've never really listened like to like the radio talk show call in, and like that's always bugged me. But more recently, there's been more of like I'm just listening to someone like Stephen A. Smith talk about how someone else talked about him and him reacting because they have a platform, right? And it's not even really about the games. The human part of sports is the fun part for me, and I think we've talked a lot about, that one of the, like, sometimes the game isn't the most interesting thing. It's the human reaction after the game from the players being interviewed about like what just happened. That, especially basketball for me, like sometimes that's more entertaining than the actual game, especially again NBA where it's 82 games and it's a fucking Tuesday in January.
Yeah, I guess that is interesting that with where you are currently at and even your decrease in interest and fandom, and yet what you're paying attention to is part of the drama part, right? Like part of what we're talking about of the interview piece. And I hear it from there's like this like psychological side of what the player's mind is going through. But I think all of this drama, granted, I don't really tune into it as much as possible. There's some stuff that I see mainly because of Instagram. It's the only platform that I'm still addicted to. And I don't watch any of these shows. I don't listen to anything, radios, podcasts, anything like that has to do with sports. And even when it's playing on TV at a sports bar, I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to watch this. So I have very much stuck to just the game, right? And that's what I've loved about it from the beginning is I fell in love with, back in high school, and just this allegiance to this team and this school and this pride. And I would get so excited to go to, whether it was the football games or the basketball games or the volleyball games, didn't matter. They were my friends on the team. So that's where it starts for me. It's like my friends are playing. I'm so excited to watch my friends, and hopefully they win and get to cheer them on. And then it goes into college for me, which that was a whole tradition from getting picked up in my dad's purple and silver van and driving into the parking lot at 5:30, 6 a.m. It depended on when the gates opened. That's when the parking lot opened. We had our spot. There was these big dumpsters that we'd park beside, because the thing about the dumpsters is it kind of created this bathroom for the men because they could just pee behind the dumpster. There was a whole thing. But they would get out, all the men would like push the dumpsters to create more space. It's so funny. I can just remember vividly every single step in that process, and then taking out all of the stuff to build out the tailgate, and then the biscuits and gravy and playing washers and all of that. It was such a event that happened every weekend, and I loved it. I loved it so much, and that part of it was so exciting. And then obviously like the game itself was so exciting, and K-State gives their students the best student section in any other college I've ever seen. So I'm just like so in it. Like I'm in the spirit of it all. And then now, being that I'm removed from that, and it's the NFL, I will say that there is a bit of a distance, I guess, from what I used to get to experience regularly and what it is now, since it's more TV. But that's probably why I like going to home and away. It's probably like why I want to be around people who are all celebrating and watching the same thing, because that's what I loved about it from the very beginning.
Sure, yeah, I definitely didn't have my connection to sports was always playing sports. It was never, even in high school and being like a super fan for the football team because I didn't play football, that I didn't look at it as like, oh, there's my friends out there, but it was more of the event of being at the game in the bleachers, and most of the time I was trying to figure out how to get alcohol. Such a bad it's a terrible influence in high school. But yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Like tradition. It's almost a religion for some people of just these the for you and I didn't obviously college being such a big part of it. I remember going to I went to a school that didn't have a football team at DePaul in the city of Chicago. We did not have a football team. Our basketball team played 40 minutes away, our home stadium. So I went to like 2 games. But I remember going to University of Illinois because I had a bunch of friends down there, and they had that was a thing, but their football team wasn't good. So it was more about half the time people wouldn't even make it into the stadium, right? It was about the tailgate, kegs and eggs, and drinking, and all the drinking games beforehand, and like the team was garbage. So if you made it, it wasn't a big deal. Like I remember going, because I only went to one, but I remember going like, oh cool, like we're gonna go do the whole tailgate thing, go get the college football experience. And I just remember being like, so are we going into the game? And everyone's like, nah. And I was like, well, no, like I want to go. So I ended up going with like a handful of people that weren't into the drinking scene as much. And yeah, it's just a very different relationship to the fandom side of it.
Yeah, I could see if I had gone to a school that their team wasn't very good, then would probably feel differently about that. So as somebody who you've started to lose big interest and fandom in it, what are you looking forward to when it comes to specifically the NFL season?
Time away from you. Sundays. I'm looking forward to Sundays. No, that's not true. What am I looking forward to specific to the NFL season? I think that it's kind of I've talked about the time here and how there's not really season. So there's this sports season, and so I think as much as I'm joking about what I just said, like I like when you're excited about things, and I like when there's energy around certain things. That's what I miss about Chicago, is everyone's excited about the weather and the sports teams and all this stuff. So I think just September, October are fall, and then so not specific NFL, but going out to Julian and getting some apple pie at some point, doing that once. Yeah, just the fall, and then end of September, October is baseball's ending, football starting, basketball starting, hockey starting. So it's like the one time of year where all of these sports are kind of going, and everyone has hope still. So I think that part of it's fun for me. It's just it's like what you talk about, or what we've talked about with baseball, where baseball, going to a game is fun, but do I need to watch all 162 games? Like, it's a lot. And that's the other part of the way football has grown, is so like I'm not a college football fan, but that's Saturday, and then the NFL has literally taken over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I think I saw a Tuesday game. It's just a lot, and to do it for whatever it ends up being, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, it's nice when it's over. But I'm excited about this time of year. I like fall.
What I just heard you say is like, I'm looking forward to when it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, I think I'm excited that I get to watch the home opener with my dad and brother. I'm excited that they're going to be here for that primetime game, Monday Night Football. That's going to be really fun. And I'm excited that there's a couple people who have joined 6 Degrees, like Brian and Camille, who I've said like, hey, come by and like we can watch the game and stuff, and just more people to kind of grow my little group of attendees of home and away. Spectators at home and away. Just, yeah, I think that'll be fun to have more people there. Yeah, like I said, just the why behind this fandom anyway, and how it all started being from this community aspect of it, this being around friends, being around family, and having something to be excited about. Hopefully Travis gets one more win, and then he can peace out. I think that's what I would imagine his goal is. We shall see.
We shall.
Put her there, bub.
See you at the end of football season. Put her there. Bub.